Good morning and welcome to another Box to the Bench review. For those of you that don't know, my Box to the Bench reviews are reviews where I pick up an engine that I bought used from eBay, RC Groups, RC Universe. I evaluate it externally only just to determine if it's in a runnable condition, and if it seems like it's got good compression and it's in a good runnable condition, I'll run it right out of the box without touching anything. So that's what this is. Today I've got one of my all-time favorite engines, which is the OS FS-90 engine. This engine came out in the early 80s, I think maybe 1983, and this will be the 8th one of these that I've actually owned. Just bought this one off of eBay. It seems to be in good running condition, which is why it's going to be on the bench first here. The only things I have done to it is I did check the valve lash. I just kind of checked it real quick, put a new glow plug in it, and I checked to see where the needle valve was set, but I set it back to where it was, and it was 3 turns out. Now this engine looks like a pretty low time engine, so I'm hoping it'll run well. And if you stay tuned till the end of the video, I'll tell you a few tips that I found over owning 8 of these engines that might be useful to those of you that might actually be in the market for one of these or might be wanting to look at it internally. So stay tuned for that and let's see how this thing runs. Okay, so as you can see, this engine runs, and it runs pretty well. There were some issues I had with the carb and the idle and full throttle transition, so I'm probably going to pull the carb off at minimum, open that all up, clean it up and see what's going on, and maybe try and find the factory set instruction or factory settings for the idle adjustment and all that kind of stuff. Master airscrew 14.6, Morgan's Omega 10% fuel, and I had a brand new Indian number 3 plug in there. Now some of the tips that I have for some of you that may be interested in buying one of these engines used, well, you could buy a new one, they're hard to find and they're expensive usually, but the fasteners that came out of Japan in the early 80s were rather soft, and this one has no exception. The fasteners on here are really soft, and out of the 8 engines I've had, I nearly stripped a head screw, a valve cover screw on this one the other night, just trying to take the valve cover off, because either they were way too torqued from the factory or they were way over torqued from a previous owner. Same thing happened with the carb screws. They're Phillips or crosspoint screws. Got on there and tried to take one off, and I felt it start to deform right away because I wanted to take the flapper off the choke because it was bent. Same type of thing. So I caution anybody that has one of these engines and wants to try and at least at minimum set the valves. Make sure that the insides of the screw heads are clean, they don't have any debris in there, so you can get full engagement. Make sure you have the proper size hex key, and as a safety precaution, you might even want to just hit the area with oil and then some heat too, just to make sure that you've got the best opportunity to get that fastener out without stripping the head, because I stripped the head on one of my other FS-90s, a head screw or a valve cover screw, and it was really painful because I ended up damaging the valve cover a little bit when trying to drill that screw out, because it just happened. So it's not a good thing. So if you have one of these older engines, I would say any of the older Japanese made engines, make sure that you heat your fasteners up if you don't know when the last time they were taken out, because they could be really torqued and the heads can deform really easily. So that's my tip for this engine. So thank you for watching this video, and I hope you enjoyed it.